And no, I still haven't been able to finish what I started. So, alright, so we got the Scrapple here. Woo! Must have cutting board. Scrapple, cutting board, and a little knife. I always use chef's knives because, for one, I'm used to it, and two, I have large hands, so it makes it easier for me to deal with the bigger knives. Quick sharpen. And when you sharpen your knives this way, and what I'm doing, all I'm doing is just running it through the sharpener. It's a manual sharpener, there's no electricity to it. Okay. Now, after you do that, you're going to have metal chips on the blades. So you want to rinse it off and make sure you get those little metal shavings off of there.
Where's that damn sponge?
Done now?
I just had my sponge and now I can't find it.
Uh-huh.
Boy. Oh, by the way.
Ah! I've been boned.
Picking on my husband.
Ah! I've been boned. Okay.
There's going to be a video up for this hopefully soon. Although I couldn't figure out how to get that fixed.
Don't know.
And it squeaks.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm going to go beat my dog with it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. God dang, people.
Alright, so what I did was I put oil in the pan, okay? And all I'm doing is going around the top of it. Even if you don't use the depth of the pan, you still want to do that, especially with cast iron, because it will keep seasoning it for you. Okay? So we put some grease in the pan. I'm going to put the pan on medium. Now, for all of you guys who have not heard of Scrapple, it is a pork sausage. It is not gluten-free because they have wheat flour in there. The gluten tends to hold the gluten in it holds it together. So, for all of you gluten-free people that I have out there, this is not for you. Alright, I'm sorry. I didn't make the sausage, so there isn't a whole lot I can do about it. But for those of us who can have gluten, let's open the package up. I'm already leaking sausage. And it does come in a brick because it's pieces and parts, okay? I know it's gross, but, you know, your hot dog is pieces and parts too, so. Okay, set it down. Now, the thing about Scrapple, and the wonderful thing about Scrapple, is that you can fry it up and make it really, really, really good. So you want to cut it. I'm going to try and show you this way. So you want to give yourself like a 1/4 to 1/3 thickness of it. So about like that. Because each one of those pieces you're gonna fry up individually, of course. And then this end piece here, there we go. So we got 6 pieces out of it. Most normal people, and I mean normal in the way that I love to eat. So most people will be able to handle maybe 2 or 3. I'll eat the whole brick. But then again, that's all I'll eat is just the Scrapple. So come over here, rinse your knife off, get the debris off of it before you throw it in your sink water. Wash it up. I happen to have a sink full of hot soapy water because that's the way I are. Okay. So all of that's done. All I'm waiting for right now is the pan to heat up so I can put the Scrapple in. So I'm going to, now that you've seen all that, I'm going to put you put the camera over top of the pan so you can see what I'm doing. All right, and get it wedged in that wonderful position. I put a light up to try and make it a little more easy, or a little easier for you to see into the pan and see what I'm doing. That's not yours. No move. No.
Wookiee, why are you in the kitchen? You know better.
Moofy's trying to help me cook.
And he knows better, by the way. Come here.
Now, I use a plastic spatula for this. I don't like them because if you look up here, you can see at the end of my finger, you can see where it's kind of curled up. Well, you have to get all of that off because that's all shavings. And I can do that with my fingernails. I'm just trying not to do it over the pan. But that's all like shavings and debris and stuff from the spatula. You don't want that in your food. We eat enough garbage that we're not supposed to every year, so. And then by the time I'm done with the Scrapple, it'll peel up some more. These really aren't the greatest spatulas. I prefer the metal ones, but I don't want my pan scraped at the bottom, because the more scrapes that you put in your pans and on the surface of your grills and whatever you're cooking on, the more stuff sticks. And I was going to talk to you guys about the egg pans. Now, the reason we have just egg pans, for all of you guys out here who are unfamiliar with such things, the reason we have egg pans, like this blue diamond one that I happen to have here, my mother-in-law bought this for me, and as you can see, it looks brand new. All that goes in this pan is eggs, okay? That's all you need in the pan. The reason is because if you put any kind of meat in an egg pan, or any non-stick pan, it will stick. The eggs will stick to the pan and you can't work with them. All right, I'll cook up some eggs and show you guys in a few. And it feels like it's getting there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Scrapple. Take our Scrapple here. We're just gonna put it in the pan. Line it up. Just drop it right on in there. Make sure it's just like doing bacon. Okay. And then because of it splashy, and it's going to get more splashy, I'm going to put a lid on it. Because I just cleaned up the kitchen, which is another video, and one I still have to finish yet. But I just got everything cleaned up from the lasagna that I made yesterday in another video. So it's, I'm trying to keep the splash down. And as you can see through the glass pan, it's got plenty of bubble to it. Make sure, if you can, turn your handles to the inside of your stove. We do this for safety, all right? Some of you moms out there who have small kids who like to reach up and grab stuff off of tables and things like that, you will understand totally. Because if that pan drops on that kid, you're going to be going to the hospital. It's a 3rd-degree burn. I know, I did it. As a child, that's exactly what I did because I wanted to see what mom was doing. So I reached up, grabbed the pan, and dumped it on myself. So I know from experience that what can happen and what will happen. I've also, my wonderful niece and nephew have also attempted that. But, because I've done the safety measures, they can't quite get to the pans. So I could just slap their hands down. All right. Now, just like bacon, what you want to do with this is cook it so it's nice and brown on each side. The ideal with Scrapple is to have it golden brown to kind of a medium brown on each side and soft in the middle. And it should do that on its own. I'm going to grab a plate because I'm going to need it for the Scrapple. So we got the dinner plate. Now, for all of you guys who are, all of my diabetics who are trying to lose weight, do yourself a favor. Use the dinner plates just to put stuff on. Don't use them to eat. You want to get a luncheon plate. At the maximum, you want to get a luncheon plate. Now, the reason I say that is because the larger the plate, the more you want to fill it up. It's a brain. You're fooling your brain that way. So if you get a smaller plate, you can still fill up the plate and feel like you've done something, but it's a much smaller variety and therefore less food, less calories. Let's see if I can find my little luncheon plate roaming around there somewhere. Unless wifey stole it. One moment. For those guys, those of us who are trying to lose weight. All right, everybody, I'm back. Sorry about the delay. Now, you can see, here's your dinner plate, right? Dinner plate. If you fill that up, that's going to be a lot of calories, and your stomach is going to expand itself to accommodate you there. Here is a dessert plate. You can see the difference. Now, if you fill the dessert plate up, you're going to have a whole lot less food and calories. So that's what I'm saying. And all it is all you're doing is fooling your brain. Because your brain looks at that plate and says, oh, it's full, I don't need any more. Okay? So that's what I can put the entire brick of Scrapple on the dinner plate, plus eggs. And that's a lot of food. It really is. Now, when I was growing up, my mom had us eat Scrapple with syrup on it. You know? Just like you guys, just like this whole bacon fetish that we got going around. Which I don't understand why they have to have bacon in everything. I have purchased this. Okay. I purchased this. I'm going to check it out and review it and see what I think of it. But it's supposed to be keto friendly and 1 gram of net carbs and no sugar. So we'll see what happens with the sugar and all of that. Okay. Now it looks like the Scrapple's browning up in there. I'm going to grab my hot pad. Now, remember I said about splashing? I don't have a shirt on, so if I get hit in the stomach with this grease, it's going to hurt. A lot. You kind of want to do it fast, but I'm trying to show you guys the way the Scrapple looks as soon as it calms down a minute. Okay, so the Scrapple is going to look like this. Ow! And yes, it pops. It's just like bacon. It pops, and it's actually worse than bacon for splash time. So we're going to take the first two, get it on our spatula, and go flip. And as you can see, it wasn't quite cooked enough because it fell apart. If it's cooked far enough, it will not fall apart. So I'm going to leave that other piece in there for a little bit longer. And of course, through all of that, grease went everywhere. So we're going to do a quick wipe. Boil up some soap. Wipe off my coffee pot. Really wish there was another place to put that thing, but there isn't at the moment. None that I could get away with anyway. I might try something different with it later on. Maybe putting it on the other side on that little end cap or something. Whew. Alright, so we've got our scrapple cooking. The one piece here fell apart. It's gonna happen. See, you can see with me trying to move it how soft it is. So, gotta leave it cook a little while longer. There we go. Ouch. I'm gonna move that all the way up like that, just so I don't have it in my way. Whew. Yeah, and like I said, I wanted a protein breakfast and all of that, so that's. I don't have protein powders or anything at the moment, unfortunately. Or I would show you how to make a really good protein smoothie. But I do have, you know, meats and eggs and all of that for protein. Alright. Come on, little one. And then Boeing. Okay. There we go. The scrapple is like chorizo in the amount of grease that happens as well. I pick on chorizo because chorizo is a very greasy sausage. I don't know how they make it, but that's from my cooking experience, that's exactly what it is. It's a very greasy, very messy sausage. Tastes fantastic, so don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to eating it. It's just that it makes a mess. And like I said, with my Keurig here, I don't know where to put it because we don't have a whole lot of room to deal with. I need to get me one of those kitchen tables that have like 2 and 3 shelves on it. Maybe I can do that if Congress stops what it's doing and actually passes bills. And you want to cook it, like I said, it's supposed to be anywhere from golden brown to dark brown. Now, if you see here around these edges, this is what it's supposed to look like, okay, on the outside. And then nice and soft on the inside. So all of that's going to end up falling apart on me because I didn't cook it enough. So we'll try again. And thus, that's how Scrapple works. If you don't cook it for long enough, it turns into a mush. And it's still good, don't get me wrong. You can still eat the mush, but because you still cooked it. It's just, it's not nice and neat and pretty, and you know, you couldn't serve that in the restaurant, really. Yeah, when I was growing up, Mom had us eating this with karo syrup on there. And, you know, before all the GMOs and stuff, karo syrup was just corn syrup. Now with everything that's been GMO'd and all of that, it's it's high fructose corn syrup now. So it's sugar with extra sugar on top of sugar. And for the diabetics, for my diabetic peoples out there, karo syrup is going to be the worst thing ever. Especially if your blood sugar isn't tightly controlled, like mine. I can stand there and look at cake and my blood sugar goes up. It's stupid. And all of that's caused by fatty liver. Which means, you know, the guys who are fluffy like I am, and the ladies, what it means is that the fat has gone through and invaded your liver, like literally gone in through your liver, and is blocking it from doing its job. And that's where it starts. So that's where we have to end it. We got to lose the fluff in order to get it taken care of. Now, for those of you who are type 1 diabetics and have had that since you were a child, I don't know about that. I wasn't talked to about that by my doctors or anything. So I don't know. Alright, now. Sticking together. It's a very, Scrapple is very interesting that way. So. Owie, 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 oxen free. Alright, now it's time to rinse off the old cutting board and wash it up. Clean as you go is the general rule of thumb. So, this here is how you want your Scrapple. You want it like a darker brown on the outside, and it should come in, it should stay in the same bricks that you cut it in. But, you know, like I said, cooking Scrapple is an art form. I told that to the wifey and she laughed. She's like, yeah. Whew. So that will be in there for a while cooking. And like I said, I'm going to try the karo syrup on it and all of that. And let you guys know how that turned out. Everybody's oohing, and I can almost hear you guys ooh all over the grease. But for those of you who work hard, you know, my construction guys and those who work shoveling and all of that, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You're gonna burn off everything. For the moms at home with little children, you're probably going to burn it off too. Chasing the little ones around, making sure that they keep their fingers to themselves. You know. And just for reference, being a housewife is an honorable profession. You're the mom at home. You teach the children what they need to know. You keep the house clean. You keep food on the table for hubby when he gets home. You know, he really appreciates you. And I can't tell you how much power that you have being the housewife. Your children grow up being raised by you, having their personalities and their beliefs shaped by you and nobody else. So, you know, if you want a great president, if you want a great doctor, if you want a great man or a great woman, you as a housewife, that's your job. That's what you do. And they will remember that for the rest of their lives, whether you're still around or not. So please don't be proud of yourself, and don't think that just because you're at home taking care of children and cleaning the house all day. You know, my mom did that. I loved her to death. I looked forward to being at home with her when I got home from school, telling her all about my day, asking her questions about what they taught me in school. You know, is this good? Is this not good? If I didn't have information on a subject, you know, like the birds and the bees and stuff like that, I could ask. And she would be there for me to ask and get answers from. And her answers were from her experience. So she shaped me to be who I am. And that's what I'm trying to say is, as a housewife, that's your power. That's your superpower. The next generation of children that goes out, your children that you birthed, that you raised, you know, that's your power. They will go out, heading out into the world with the beliefs that you've instilled in them. So don't think that it's, you know, these women who go out and work in the offices and stuff all day, they gave that power up. They said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to do what I need to do. And, you know, for those of you who are actually, you single moms out there who are working and raising your children, much kudos. You know, my mom had to do that for me too. So, because, you know, mom and dad weren't always together. I thank God that they weren't that far apart. And that they could at least, you know, stand each other long enough for me to hang out with me. But they worked out in the end. It was a good ending. However, you know, I remember coming home as an 11-year-old kid. You know, I was in 5th and 6th grade. I had to do my own cooking. I had to do my own laundry. I had to pick up the house. You know, I had stuff I had to do when I got home. But because of the way mom raised me before they separated, I was able to handle that. You know, if I needed something, I had dad's phone number. I had my older sister's phone number. I had mom's work number. If I needed something, I could get a hold of somebody. You know, if there was an emergency, I could call and get help or get advice or whatever. So, you know, I kind of look at sideways at these kids who at 11 and 12 years old can't even manage to load a dishwasher, or, you know, they're sitting at home on their phones instead of getting their stuff done. We didn't have that when I was growing up. You know, my timing was I got home, I cooked for myself. By the time I was done cooking, the afternoon cartoons were on. I ate, I watched TV, I got up and cleaned the house. So.
Schedule.
Okay.
The filming schedule.
Okay.
If you wanted to. I don't really care, but.
Alright.
I figured you could have a copy of it because there's 2 copies there.
Okay. Alright. So, yeah. As I said, for you housewives out there, you know, don't look down on yourself because you're... Huh? Yep, I do too.
We love our subscribers.
Well, and I was telling them what, you know, their superpower is raising the next generation of kids.
Yeah.
You know, they shape their beliefs, they shape who they are as a housewife. Mm-hmm. If you're sitting in an office and your kid's at home, you can't do that.
Well, and here's the thing. I had to basically teach myself everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, be aware what your kids are learning. Be aware, you know, if they're going through a hard time or something, be aware. Be active in their life. Don't wait until they're older to be able to take that opportunity.
Yeah, because it's a lot harder once they're older.
Yeah.
All right. That looks a lot better. How about that? Oh, all my...
There's oil in there. I am leaving. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
So she's terrified of oil because she got third-degree burns too. And here's the thing. She had nobody to call. Nobody answered their phones. Okay. So we're going to flip the first 2 like we did last time. Blammo. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Ha! Got it right. It's going to splash and fuss and everything else. So if you have children, keep them out of the kitchen while you're cooking. That's not quite ready yet because it's too far over. From the fire. But yeah, that's how that's supposed to work. Just like that. Now, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent. I know this is a cooking show, but you know, stuff like cooking at home. Now, my mom, when I was growing up, cooked with me at home. She showed me how to make eggs. She showed me how to make bacon. She showed me how to cook hamburgers. You know, all that stuff. She baked with me, she cooked with me, she did everything she could so that I knew what I was doing by the time I left the house. I knew how to sew, I knew how to cook, I knew how to do laundry, I knew how to keep the house clean, I knew how to run the vacuum cleaner, the steam cleaner, you know, all of that. So, and keep in mind, you know, for everyone, and you dads out there, you know, when you get home from work, spend time with your children. Don't let them run off and hang out with the local gang. That's how you prevent all of that, by hanging out with your children. You know, I didn't have what a lot of people call the greatest parents. I thought they were the most fabulous people on earth. My dad played catch with me. He played, we caught footballs together. We threw baseballs together. You know, we went for walks together. We went for bike rides together. All of that. He taught me, I watched him work on cars. He taught me how to work on cars. He taught me how to build houses, how to wire, how to do roofs, all of this. Why? Because he bothered to hang out with me. You know, the same with you moms. Don't send your children out unarmed. Because that's going to get them in trouble. And if you keep them in home and spend time with them, you know, I'm not going to touch on religion because that's not what this whole thing is. This show is about. So, ex-nay the religion A, okay? But the rest of it, spend time with your children. Don't let them get involved in the gangs. Show them what happens when you do get involved in the gangs. But you do get involved with drugs. You know, show them how stupid people are. Say you don't want to do that. Einstein didn't have a computer. Look what he did. Nor did he hang out with gangs. So, you know, all of that's because kids are left at home without parents. And that's what I'm saying. The parents are the power. That's why they're trying to destroy the family. Why? Because we teach the next generation instead of sending them to school so that they can indoctrinate them into whatever the heck the flavor is of the century. So, anyway, enough about all of that. I'm getting way off on a tangent. But as far as cooking goes, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's calmed down. If I can get this piece apart. It's trying to cook itself together with the other two. Alright, so see how it's crispy on the outside, but you can see as I'm moving it around that it's still soft on the inside. And that's what you want. And these blasted plastic things. Hate them. But they keep my pan from being all fucked up. So. Okay, put them on your plate. Take this one. Flip him. So, you can see this wasn't cooked enough. These were cooked just right. Huge difference in the two. Alright? And yeah, they're going to be crispy. The great thing about Scrapple is if you don't like crispy, if you would rather have it softer, that's your preference. It's all about preference. So, after this last piece of Scrapple is done, I'm going to show you guys the eggs, the egg pan, and why that's important that you don't mess that up. It's getting splashed over here, so I'm trying to keep it nice. Now when I fry eggs, I tend to use the olive oil for the eggs. I fried eggs in butter before, and that's all fine and dandy. I prefer the olive oil because it's better for your system. That's why I cook with olive oil. It keeps everything flowing, if you know what I mean. My blood sugar was at 148, I think, is where my dog caught it earlier. So it's slowly going up. My low battery warning. So it's my blood sugar was at about 148, so I needed to get food because I haven't eaten today. And that's how this whole thing started. Yep. See? It's supposed to be just like that. Alright. Now I'm going to take this off the fire. Turn down the fire. Park that back there. Pull our egg pan up here. As I said, it started getting splashy, so put a little oil in there. I tend to use a little bit more than usual, but I want to make sure that the pan is covered in case of splashes, things like that. All right, now, I seem to have run into an egg issue, but there's enough there for us to be able to do this. Is this thawed out yet? So, well, I only have one egg because I forgot to get eggs. So here we go. Crack. Boink. I have some frozen egg stuffs in here. Liquid eggs. So we're going to mix them up and see what happens. Gotta check it out first, since it was frozen. Not totally sure I want to use it, so. Now, if you guys want sunny side up eggs, for all you guys out there who like your eggs a certain way, if you like sunny side up eggs, you want to break that white vein. Okay? And what that does is that all of that egg that's around the yolk, you're trying to drain it so that you can get a nice sunny side up egg. That way it all cooks, the yolk stays liquid, and everything else cooks around it. Okay? That's how you do a sunny side up egg. Very easy. On your egg pans, never ever use a metal spatula. You will scrape the hell out of them. Once you do that, they're done. I've thrown pans out because I couldn't even cook hamburger in it without it sticking, because of getting it scraped up. And when you put your pans up in the cabinets and stuff, make sure the egg pan is either somewhere where it won't get. You don't want to set a pan inside of it. You don't want that surface to ever be touched by anything but eggs. So keep it on top, keep it separate, hang it, do whatever you got to do to make sure that doesn't happen. And that egg pan should last you your lifetime, to be honest. But you see, as you can see, the whites are cooking up just nicely. I might be able to add just a smidge more heat to it. The egg whites are cooking up just nicely. And you can salt and pepper it in the pan, or you can salt and pepper it after you've cooked it. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to that part of the seasoning is not going to affect it either way. You know, it's not like meat where you are supposed to cook the meat up with the spices in it so that it gets the flavor of the spices get in the meat. Eggs are not like that. The proper temperature to cook eggs is actually 325. Everything else, like pancakes and stuff like that for your breakfast, should be at a 350. So if you're looking for specific temperatures, that's what it is. Eggs I don't cook any higher than usually medium is the highest I'll go. Medium low is preferred. It takes a little bit longer to cook the egg, but you know, if you don't like the brown crispy crust on the eggs because they've been in a fryer or they've been cooking too long, that's what temperature you use is 350 or medium low. See how nice and smooth that is? I can move that egg around that pan without a problem. That's what you want. If you, like I said, if you scrape it, you're going to lose that and you won't be able to do anything with it. Okay? And yes, I can flip the eggs out of the pan. With that much grease, I would not recommend it. I'm probably going to do this sunny side up because I put way too much oil in there. And there's not a whole lot I can do about that. So we're going to cook this sunny side up. Now, remember I said about fooling your brain. So here is your dinner plate. Look at all that. That's 1 pound of Scrapple. All right. And you still have not filled that plate. So that's 1 pound of Scrapple. I'm going to take the mushy stuff that I cooked and put it on a plate if I can, because everything seems to be wanting me to do it again. So this is 3 pieces of Scrapple. As you can see, it's fairly high. Here's your egg. Now it's technically pretty much done for a sunny side up. Air bubble. We need an air bubble in the yolk. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plate this up. Just like this. I'm going to throw some of that liquid egg in here to see if it's any good. So, if it's not any good, but see, now you see the difference. There's that compared to that. Okay, you can put pancakes, Scrapple, pancakes, and about 4 eggs on that yet. Here you got 3 pieces of Scrapple and 1 egg. All right, so that's what I meant about fooling your brain with diet, and it still looks great. All right, now gross time. Gonna try and shake this up a little bit more. I've not worked with this particular product before, so it came in the last batch of donated foods. So there's all that. Looks like it'll make a good omelet if it's worth much. And I say that for a reason. I'm going to turn the heat up on this just a little bit more towards medium, because I want it to try and cook through and brown up. The reason I said that is that we use the liquid egg product in the restaurants, and most of the time it's great. But once it starts, it looks like it's like this is a frozen piece here or whatever. Once it starts doing that, I kind of get a little scared, because I don't want salmonella, because salmonella naturally, eggs and chickens have salmonella in them naturally. It's part of their chemical makeup, and that's fine. It's just that, you know, and your body can handle some, but not as much as, you know, if you get salmonella poisoning, something's really wrong. Especially if you get it out of a restaurant. I was always an ass about keeping things clean in the restaurants. My last health inspection, we passed with a 99%, because they didn't want to give us a perfect score. And that's exactly what the lady said. She didn't want to give us a perfect score because, you know, according to their rules, there isn't one. And I call bullshit, but you know, it's not necessarily me that's doing it. So put a tad bit of salt on there. I can't see at the moment, so all right, and that should do it. I'm going to, but you can see it crawled up onto the walls, and that's why you always want to make sure. See how it's sticking to the wall there? That's why you make sure that your oil is on the walls of your pan, so that it'll flop itself back off. Okay, I'm gonna cook that up, and I'll let you guys know how it turned out. All right. Oh, hello brightness. So we'll go this way, and that'll do it for another edition of Cooking with Wookiee. See you guys later. Let me know what you think.